Hey guys, this is Jared with Hoodoo Sports. Today we're going to be installing your Blade Rudder and connecting it to the existing hand steering on your Tempest 120p. You're going to start by removing both screws in the rudder steering plate with a 2mm Allen head. Then next you're going to remove the 4 screws on your hand steering control with a 4mm and discard the current cable that you have. Then you're going to remove the brass insert from your pulley here, and you're going to loosen the set screw inside with a 1mm Allen head, and this is how you will remove the existing cable from this set screw. Now for the new cable that you're going to run, we have already pre-cut it and included that in your Blade Rudder kit, so you will not need to measure it like you see here. So you're going to take the cable that's included in your kit and put it back into the brass insert set screw where you took the old cable out of. And you want to make sure you run it to where it meets evenly. You want an even length on either side of the set screw. Now once you have that centered, you can go ahead and re-tighten the 1mm set screw. Now once you have that tightened back down, go ahead and reinsert the brass insert set screw into the pulley on your hand steering control. And you're going to then run either side of the cable through the side metal loops on the pulley. You're then going to go ahead and start the reinstallation of your hand control module. First, you want to make sure you separate the right and the left side of each cable, and this is very important because you want to make sure you run it through the proper tubing. This tubing that you're going to partially feed this through here will already be inside your boat. Now you're going to come to where the steering plate came off, and you're going to cut the ends off of the tubing where it comes out of the back. This way you can feed the tubing back through these holes, and you can use a box cutter if necessary if you can't get it with cutters.
Left side.
Then you're going to take what you just cut, put it in their respective D-ring on each side. The only reason you need to do this is so you can keep separated your right from your left cable. You're then going to go ahead and drill your holes, and this is a 5/8 drill bit. And then with the tubing that was included in your kit, you can now partially run that through these holes and reach through the rear hatch and pull that cable tubing out. You're then going to need to use a heat gun if you have one. You can also use a lighter, just make sure not to completely melt the tubing. And you're just trying to get this tubing melted enough to where you can flange the end of it out with a screwdriver. And as you can see, once you get that end of the tubing fairly softened, you can take a Phillips head screwdriver and widen the entryway of the tubing. And you're doing this so you can then insert the other end of your tubing inside of this. This is essentially creating a pathway through the boat where you can run your cable all the way through. Once you have your front and your back tubing connected, come to the back of the boat, trim the excess tubing off if necessary, and go ahead and heat this tubing as well, because you're going to want to flare the end of it out so that way it does not pull back through the boat. And you're going to do this on both sides. Now that you have the tubing on both sides ready to go, you can go back up to your steering control and you can feed the rest of the cabling through the tube until it comes out of the rear of the boat. Once you see that the cable has come out of the back of the tubing, you can go ahead and reinstall your steering control module with your 4mm Allen screws. Then go ahead and put a piece of tape to keep the handle centered while you adjust the rudder. All that's left is to install the Blade Rudder with the included hardware, and to attach this cabling, you're going to run it through the bottom of your ferrule crimps that were included in this kit, up through the top hole of the Blade Rudder, and then back through the top of the ferrule crimp, and then crimp them down. You'll need to pull each side of the cable tight before you crimp it, just so you know that you have the proper tension on the rudder so it will actually steer itself. It's also worth mentioning that the white plastic washer that you received in your kit will need to go on the top of the boat, and the pin on the Blade Rudder feeds through that, and then you'll also have a cotter pin that you'll need to attach to the pin on the rudder. Here you can insert a scupper plug if you want to, but it's not necessary, just to fill that hole where the old rudder was. And that's it, guys. That's all it takes to convert your hand-controlled bottom side rudder to a hand-controlled blade rudder on the Hoodoo Tempest 120p.